I don't know exactly where we went to. I want to start on the line that begins with the word shêyihuhyeah ratzon. About 8 lines from the top, from the beginning of that section. Kuf Mem Hey.
Rabbi PALTIEL?
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you feel it would be worthwhile, but maybe you could explain the question that was being discussed between you and Shlomo on the WhatsApp, which I understand it was a pretty spirited discussion, but I didn't really follow.
About Chochmah.
About whatever it was about.
All right, I'll do that because I thought about it this morning. I said, "What is going on? Where do we take part ways, so to speak?"
That would be useful to hear.
Okay, so I shall do that. As I said the other day, Chochmah is the one place that we have some kind of an inkling what we're talking about, and thus the better we relate to it, the better we know what we're talking about, the better we can relate to it, and relating to that is very significant. We are used to, in our world, to have things defined, and we relate to things on the basis of their definition. In other words, regardless where the thing comes from, we relate to it on the basis of its of the definition that we get from it. For example, it is true that you're a guest in somebody's home, and you appreciate the fact that you are a guest in his home. But then he gives you your meal, and you eat the meal, and you remember that this meal came to you because of the rajis and the hospitality of your host. But that does not change the actual meal. The meal is a meal that consists of whatever ingredient it is. This is what the meal is. In addition to that, or from a different angle, you also recognize the hospitality and so forth. And this is the approach we have in attempting to relate to Chochmah. Or, as we say all the time, sight. Sight is that special blessing that on a physical level we have something akin to Chochmah. And I'll discuss it, what's so significant of that. But first of all, it goes step by step. It is natural in our thinking process. Like I asked the other day, okay, look up on the sky and see if you can define what you see. And the answer was, no, you cannot define what you see. How do you then relate to it if you can't define what you see? The answer is, you relate to it on this AYIN level, at the reality that it was made to be, beyond your understanding. You don't relate to it by the definitions that you can attribute to it. This is a very important principle in life in general, because if we begin to give definitions to the sky, we lose the whole richness of the world. This morning I thought to myself, how do I bring it home? We're first coming into Avraham Avinu. By Avraham it says, Vayoytzei oisei hachutzo. Hashem took Avraham out to the outside. In other words, to explain to you, to Avraham, what I have in mind while you are in your tent is impossible. I want you to see it from outside of the tent. From top down, coming down from the sky into the earth, rather than earth to the sky. Because the sky is a reality, is a real thing. This is, the sky was created before the earth. This is what gives the earth its richness and its expanse. It's limitless. Thank you. This is what Chokhmah is. Chokhmah is that divine gift to a person, that he can actually recognize that his life and his orientation is not of a worldly ilk. It's not a middle worldliness. This is where faith and belief comes from. I believe. Whatever. Do you know what you believe? I don't need to know what I believe, because belief itself is a reality. Because the Rebbe provides me with that which I should believe. We said many times that sight, although we experience a physical sight, the truth is that the real experience of sight is not that I found something and I see it, but this which I see is being shown to me. The real sight is not the fact that it's being shown to me, which means it's bigger than discernment by worldly experience. If we start giving it a worldly definition, we lose that. This is why we say Yiddishkeit is based on the Emunah. By Avraham Avinu says, by Ha'amir B'Hashem. Avraham Avinu believed in Hashem. Avraham Avinu believed in Hashem. Avraham Avinu was Meiser Nefesh for the Meibus. But when the Rebbe promised him that he will have offspring, he said, by Ha'amir B'Hashem. Having offspring is a natural phenomenon. He says, no, it's not natural. B'Ha'amir B'Hashem, he believed in trust, and the Rebbe will give him a child. This is where Yitzchak came from. Not from the nature of giving birth. This is true by Avraham Avinu, this is true by Avraham's descendants. This is what Yiddishkeit is about. There's much to speak about it, but everybody is aware the tumultuous situation at Matan Torah and all that is to effectuate a disconnect to the physical structure and physical reality. And yet it should be real because it's being presented to you from above. And this is why I'm so objective. I object very strongly. If we start giving definition to Chokhmah, we are giving up that greatest of opportunity that we are given. There's no need to give a definition. Because your life, the whole life, the very life itself is based on this experience and this sight. It's real. Okay. Okay, as I said, we'll start on the line that begins shêyihuhyeah. This is approximately 8 lines from the beginning of that section. shêyihuhyeah. The line below that begins with pshitus, legamri. Okay, v'chein hu bibchinas oir. In the beginning of oir, it said the etzem and his pashtus, and the similar union is in that which is called oir. What do we mean that it's likewise? The be'etzem hu bibchinas ayin. That in essence it is of the quality and of the message of ayin. And I'll come back to this in a moment. Ubibchinas pshitus legamri. And it is of the message, of the stance of pshitus legamri, of total pshitus. Again, pshitus means there's no definition to it. You're not even looking for a definition. You don't need the definition. Why? Because you accept it from its source. Not by your discernment, by your experience. This is what is being given to you. By the Creator Himself, by Motzei Rishon. That is the reality in which you live. This is where Amunah comes in. I say Abraham was taken out of his tent. In order for him to see that which Rebbe wanted him to see, he took him out of his tent. The bechina avoid the be'etzem hu bechina sayin. I said I'll come back to this. Oir. On one hand, we say it's oir, which means it's not etzem. And yet we say be'etzem hu bechina sayin. It seems like we are kind of contradicting ourselves. The yin is that despite the fact that this is only oir, this is so to speak, the divine presence that is allowed, to which we have access. This is its essence, so to speak. This is the reality that we get from it. We don't have any other level. In essence, it's b'chinas ayin. What does ayin mean? Ayin means that it gives all the support that is necessary, but making itself totally inobtrusive, unnoticed. And it is also of the stance of total pshitus, which means, again, there is not an explanation as to what it is and how it accomplishes its task. The task is getting accomplished by the effect of the oil.
Why is he adding here v'cheinu b'chinas? What is the addition of the b'chinas here?
B'chinas oil.
Yeah. Or it's not necessarily
just as we spoke about Chokhmah just now, or sight for that matter, we know very well that there is no way we can define what sight is. And yet, our tendency is to give it a definition. Even though we see the reality, the truth, there's no way that we can give it a definition. And yet, we want to give it a definition. Why? Because we refuse to relate to that which is the bechinas AYIN. If there's no tension, if we cannot grasp it, we cannot define it in our terms, we have a difficulty to relate to it. So this is why we bring the word bechinas, that you should know that in fact we relate to the bechina of air. We don't need a tangible entity. This is where Emunah comes in. You believe in God. What means you believe in? What do you believe? Where is He? There is no defining element to this. There is Yirah Shamayim, there is Avos Hashem. This is the result of that inyan, of that emunah. But the emunah is not definable. That is the level at which we, Eden, live. I mentioned, it occurred to me this morning, and it is now in this passage, that Avraham Avinu, to be convinced, Hashem had to take him out of his tent. And he says to him, look down from the sky. Look down from above downwards.
Is this Pasha? This week is Trim.
No, not in Truma, that's for sure. You're right. This Parsha, yes. But it's been absurd, this is. We look at the world, please understand, top down. We don't let the world tell us about itself. We tell it what it is. Because we look at it top down, we look at it from its inception, from its creator's viewpoint. That's what the world is about. This is why we can look at the sky and not be perplexed. The whole phenomenon of the world is not perplexed because it has ever since creation. And it's constantly being created. With all its ramifications and all the richness that it represents. The seasonal changes, the day and so forth. This is the Bechina. The Bechina is that aspect with which we can relate to. This is at which level, at the level at which we relate to this reality. Not by defining it, but by its effect. בעצם הוא בבחינת עין או בבחינת פשיטוס לגמרי. Pshitas means there is no definition, no defining the means of defining it. ואינו בבחינת שייכוס לשום דבר. Again, bibchinas over here means to say that the reality of the oil, the way we identify it is not because it has any kind of ramifications. It shows itself in some way. This is the oil. Oil is just a statement of the presence of the ratzon. The mashal that we have for oil, I don't know if I should go right. That's sufficient. Or bispashtus, but then when this oil comes to the next level, that's called bispashtus. Bispashtus means its effect. Harei hu bibchinas shaychus upeil dobo. Then it has already the element of having a shaychus, of having a relation, relating to some things, or peil dobo, and it affects something. The oil that we are dealing with, that we spoke about, and there is the ratzon and the hispashtus, is light, plain simple light, sunlight. Sunlight, and we say daylight, it definitely has a hispashtus, which means it definitely has an effect, because sunlight enables us to see the whole world. And yet, as mentioned many times, nobody is going to define sunlight as that which enables us to see. It's infinitely greater than that. This is the hispashtus, this is the effect of it. But its reality is something else completely. Be'etzem is b'chinas ayin. It is not a presence that a tangible presence that can be defined. As I said, we said many times, it changes the world from night to day. I mentioned many times that Eibusher gave it the name day and night. It changes it from light and dark to day and night. What's the difference? The difference is light and dark is the hispashtus of it, the effect. Day and night is the ratzon. Okay, now that we've come to this, now we may be able to understand the next few line. In the Hispashus, he has the aspect of shaychus, he has the aspect of relating and affecting its surrounding. Upeil dobo, and it actually has a piula. Avol, but huloi bibchinas tfisa v'islapshus. Even though it has a pula, has an effect, its effect is not accomplished bibchinas tfisa v'islapshus, not by being grasped and focused into doing it. Like we said many times, that light, sunlight, is not busy giving light to the earth. And the Rebbe concludes this, and that is, how can it be that it should be poil dober without having been involved in this piula? Lefi, because shebe'etzem mahusoi. I'm going to try to define the next few words. Shebe'etzem mahusoi. Because in the essence of his reality, What does it stand for? What is its message? What is its identity? What is its address? It is not an entity unto itself. It is only pointing to the union that there is an etzem. It is in the state of the message of is the gilu minu etzem, that there is an etzem that from which it comes, not its own presence. Ubibchinas ayin, that its essence is gilu. It is not an entity unto itself. It is only pointing to the etzem, gilu minu etzem. Ubibchinas ayin, therefore, it's in itself. It is ayin. It is completely self-effacing. Hine, therefore, Gambi is Pashu Solei, seems that in essence it is ayin, therefore Gambi is Pashu Solei, even when it's mispashet and it has an effect, Hu b'bchinas ayin, it remains ayin. It completely self-effaces, and the effect of Mishas Pashtus is without engaging it itself. Go a little further. And although it has an effect in the world, the piyula is b'bchinas makif, in a makif manner, not an engaging manner, but in a top-down manner, makif, which is not in tfisa v'yislapshus, does not give rest or be yislapshus or engaged. And thus it is everywhere equally. So this is all has been discussed before in the Misholim of Nefesh and Hashemesh. An interesting thing that we tested it here and everybody concurred, recognized. We have daylight, which is a tremendous thing, phenomenal thing. This daylight is created by the presence of the sun. In practically speaking, we are benefiting from the daylight, not from the sun. When that translates in daylight, we are benefiting from it. So we are essentially grabbing the effect of it rather than its essence. But let's say there is daylight without sun. If there were no sun, would it be the same? Would it have the same message to its same effect? Would have the essence would be missing, the reality would be missing. Be a fake daylight.
It would be like the light.
It would be like the light. And said many times, we cannot with all the flowers that we have, we cannot really emulate daylight. We can create so much light, we cannot emulate daylight. They can create light. They play ball in artificial light, and they can see the ball flying and stuff. It doesn't compare to daylight. And in daylight itself, if you take the sun away, it is no longer what daylight is.
How would it be different than the light that was created on the first day?
What?
How would it be different than the light that was created on the first day that has that element in it, but
it is not. The difference is that now there is a way that the world can be explained. When is the daylight come? Oh, there is a sun. The first day there was no monkey, there was no moir.
So isn't that what we would be doing by taking away the sun?
Oh, if you take it away, it would lose completely its effect. Because yes, indeed, we in our world are dependent on there being a source.
Saying if we have daylight but without the sun, wouldn't that be like the air that was created on the first day? Daylight without the sun.
That's what he says. No?
Right.
But we can't relate to it.
We can't go back to
So how does that connect back to, as a muscle to what we're learning here? That the shemesh is the...
Because be'etzem says the oyer affects without his slapshus. Because be'etzem, it does not stand for what it is, but for the source where it's coming from. And this is where we see that even though the oil is now affected, if you take away the principal source, we lose its effect. Because the effect of the light of this the daylight is that it is shêyihuhyeah. And if you take away the etzem, then we lose the sense of what the oil is.
So the oil, the shemesh becomes in this etzem.
What?
The shemesh becomes the etzem.
The shemesh is the etzem.
Then I thought daylight is the etzem.
No. The shemesh brings the etzem of daylight. Because I said the Yom Rishon was just daylight, and then the world could not relate to it. So the Rebbe created the shemesh, to camouflage the inyan that this is daylight, this is not light. That there is a shemesh. But the truth is that the shemesh is producing a light that cannot be explained by a source. As if it were without a source. Like the Ramban says. The Oyesh Nivra B'Yom Rishon was then hidden into the sun. Yom Rishon, without the sun, it completely disrupts the order of the world. Because in the world, light without a luminary is not possible. So it's a divine light. The world, in order that the world should be a world in a true sense of the word, the divine aspect has to be concealed. This is what we're saying. That this oil is poil. It has an effect. But it has an effect without his slapshus. Mebchinas AYIN. Why is it AYIN? Because the whole inyan of this oil is that it's a shêyihuhyeah. It is not an entity unto itself. Like daylight. The truth of the definition of daylight today is sunlight. The sun, the presence of the sun, not the sunlight, the presence of the sun. It says in Siddur the following words, I mentioned it many times, that the sun is an etzem behiri. I want to point out what the special influence in this definition. Etzem behiri. The way we see the sun is like this. The sun is a ball of fire. Fire produces light, which is why the sun has light. First of all, it's a ball of fire. As a result of being fire, it makes light, and therefore there's light. So Chassidus says clearly, we have a short-sighted view of it. The sun produces light not because it's fire, because of its fire quality, because of its heat. It produces light because it is etzem behiri. It's a bright essence. And this is why, as soon as the sun appears, its entire environment is engulfed in light, not in fire, or the effect of fire, in light. Because this, just like the ocean Yom Rishon, was pure light. not fire, but pure light. The sun is Etzem Behiri. And this is why as soon as it appears, everything brightens up. What? What's the matter? So the light that illuminates the daylight and illuminates the world is behinas AYIN, because the principle of this light is pointing to the Etzem, not itself. Itself is already a functional level. He says, no, there's an essence that is bright. And this brightness comes from derech memela, without any engagement in making it light. This is a little challenging, but I'm going to say it anyway. Just as a person in his home, we said many times, as soon as a person steps into his home, his presence emanates everywhere in the entire home, no matter how large a home is. He is present everywhere. Because this is the oil of the Etzem. The same is true regarding sunlight spreading into the world.